good evening. Welcome back to In the Khud. This is 19 July 2023, 7:04 p.m. And as the trend has been, even today, I was like, I should just leave for the gym because there is a tremendous amount of resistance I'm feeling towards recording these In the Khud sessions. A, because I am not able to stick to like constraints. I'm just going around doing things and the videos becoming a lot longer. And B, I'm not being able to start on time. So everything is messed up. Like even with my personal life, if I take a little bit of time, the getting up at 4 a.m. schedule has completely been devastated, if I would, to the point that I'm so tired. Like every single day the 4 o'clock alarm goes and I snooze it, and then I get up at the 6 o'clock alarm, and that is also forcefully because I have to take Snowy down. There's no option there. But the entire ideology of having those 4 or 5 hours before the day starts to work on, like right now I have so many courses on my table, the bigger one being a lot of them, but the more recent one being the Unreal Engine course. So none of that is being happening. But even then, throughout the day, working on the full-time job stuff, there's a bit of progress I've done today, so I'm going to document that. And what is it? It's 1:25. I'm going to try and stick to 6 minutes or 5 minutes. We'll see how that goes. First thing I have to document is that 3D video we've been working on since a couple of weeks now. I think probably even more than that. That finally, I don't know if it got through in the sense that it is going to get posted or something, but it seems like it has gotten through. So here's how the final video is. I'm just going to play it once.
I'ma be the best that you never have. I'ma kick back when you fake like that. Get out of the game, I don't play that fact. Would you let me go? No, you never come back. I'ma be the best that you never have. Would you let me go? No, you never come back.
Okay, so from the earlier versions to this versions, the bigger changes that I've done is, you see in the earlier versions I had turned off the sun disk, so it was looking a lot darker and a lot like, which something that people are saying is not looking realistic enough. So here I've kept the sun on, and you see the sun is reflecting and everything. It looks like a natural environment. This is my first ever 3D environment made completely inside of Blender, with all these scatterings and displacements and geometry nodes and a lot of things here. Even the trees I've made with pomegranate fruits on it. This pomegranate model I've bought online, and this entire bottle I've modeled myself, and the cap. So with the feedback, it was the cap is not looking right, so the entire cap had to be modeled in day before yesterday's video. I think, I'm not sure if it was yesterday I think I did not record anything. Day before yesterday's video, I was trying to make ridges on the cap, and there was like a lot of processing problem. Turns out the solution to that is you just apply the subdiv modifier, because once you do that, everything moves like butter. But the downside being that at that point it's completely non-destructive, to the point that there's so much geometry, so many vertices in it, that if you want to make any changes to the shape, you're done for. You can't make any changes. So, but that's the only solution going forward. You can't have that subdiv modifier there and expect Blender to not go into not responding. It will go into non-responding very, very fast, very soon. That was that. So the cap situation is sorted. One thing that I spent yesterday a long time, like if you see here, when the camera comes up, the liquid and the bubbles around the liquid, I spent so much time trying to figure this yesterday. I saw a ton of tutorials on making a procedural foam shader and all sorts of stuff, like from Bad Normals. There's a tutorial I was talking about, a beer tutorial by Blender Guru, and I watched so many things, but I just could not figure it. Like something or the other was looking off. So then I thought I'll just take an image, like a PNG from FreePic, and I'll put that in. But then I couldn't do that inside of After Effects, because you see that the perspective over here is changing with the camera. So the final resort was to take that PNG image and put it into Blender on top of this as an image. We have an add-on called Import Images as Planes, and that is how this is coming nice. And this is one thing, as my skill set is pretty broad and pretty wide at this point. Like there are a ton of softwares I'm comfortable working with. So taking something from Illustrator, throwing it into Photoshop, throwing it back into Blender, and doing something inside this shader to achieve the kind of result. Because this, being able to procedurally do it, it shouldn't be a problem. It's pretty much possible to do, but I couldn't figure it out. I will probably do it at some point. But yeah, that was the last resort situation. And then you go inside. This is the entire Stable Diffusion part, and then you come out, and yeah. So I think the only thing I need to really document here is, how do you make, when I was trying to do procedural things, how do you make a gradient texture as a factor, but it's black in the center and towards the edges becomes white. So I'm going to try and demonstrate this. Shift A, mesh plane, right? I'm going to rendered view. I'm going to add a new material to this. Now how do you make that circular thing, right? I'm going to, let's say, material preview. You want to add a gradient texture. Shift A, S, gradient texture. Set this to spherical, okay? And Control Shift click on this to get a preview. It's going to look something like this. You're going to come in here, press Control T, which is a feature of the node wrangler add-on, enable it. I'm not going to, like everyone else, I'm not going to tell you how to do it. So come into object and plug that into vector. That's important. There you have it. That's your gradient map, and you can plug this into the factor of anything you want, like a mix shader, to determine where you want bubbles and where you want something else, right? And I'll probably try doing it through the principal node only. But here, how do you control it? You control it through a color ramp. Bring this in here, and now you have complete control over it. If you want to make it like smoother, you can either use ease, or you can use B-spline. That'll be way too smooth. But if you flip this, you'll get black in the center and white towards the edges. This is something you want to do if you want something to happen towards the edges. So let me keep it at linear. Okay, now how is this useful at all? Okay, my screen is not mobile friendly at the moment. It's because of so much nonsense here. Just take a minute to just fix this. Okay, we're good. Now how do you actually use this thing? Let's say you add this into, from the principal shader, you were to add this into a, I'm just going to take colors because that's the easiest example. Take one more, principal BSDF, change this to like say red, and change this to yellow. Okay, now you're going to Control Shift and drag on top of these, so you get a mix shader like this. This is again a node wrangler thing as far as I know. And here, if you take the factor to 1, you're going to see the bottom one, yellow. If you take the factor to 0, you're going to see the top one, which is red. What you want to do is you want to take this mask that we created and put that color as the factor for this mix shader. And now if you preview this, you should see, yes, you should see yellow at the edges and red here, and you have complete control over how you want to adjust this. So the reason I'm documenting this is this particular thing I could not find anywhere online. So, and I wanted to really do this, like be able to control the mask, because as I said, this bubble thing, I wanted to just have it on the surface, the circumference, not in the middle. So that was that. The other important thing is what I want to document is from childhood as a kid, I've been very afraid of perspective. I do not understand perspective. So luckily today I came across a video on my YouTube feed which showed a software called, I've even put it on my taskbar, F-Spy, and this software is beautiful. It is extremely beautiful. I'm just gonna quickly show you how to set this up. So I have this one image here. I was actually trying to do a thing where I'm gonna take a video, I'm gonna uncheck dim. We take a video and we take an image out of it, and then you replace something that you want on top of it, right? So how do you use this in such a way that you have you want to recreate this 2D image with inside Blender with 3D? How do you do that? So here you see these things, okay? These are basically your perspective points. So Y is going to be this thing, okay? Y is inside, Z is up, down, Y is inside, Z is up, down, and X is horizontal. Okay, so let's say I put horizontal to be something like this. This is very, very rough at this point because you can always tweak it later. And the second X, we're gonna put it like this. The moment you do that, you see you're gonna get a Z handle here. I'm gonna dim image so that you can see it here. So now this should like perfectly align with your things here. Now one thing you will notice is that Z should be vertical, because should it be vertical? I think X should be something like this. Yeah, now if you take it here, this matches. I can make it a little more parallel. Now I do want Z to be in this direction. So X, Y, Z. Yeah, so the beautiful part of this is now if you come in here and say file, save, you've saved this as a .fspy, okay, this projection one. And then when you come inside Blender and you enable that add-on for Blender add-on fspy, that allows you to file import fspy. When you do that, and then you come here and wherever you saved it, if you import that projection 1, the most beautiful thing in the world is gonna actually give you a camera. Okay, and if you go into the camera, wait, I've gotten 2 cameras now. So if I go into this camera, you will see that the camera is set in that perspective with the focal length that you need. So if you come in here, focal length of 43.8 and perspective, and now you can come in here and start just modeling your thing in the perspective that you want. Isn't that beautiful? And the best part here is, now if I want to recreate the whole scene inside 3D, I'm gonna come in here, add a cube, and just try aligning this. This is what I did, in that I took the perspective same way, and I brought in a teapot from Sketchfab and I dropped it here. And then that smoke, I was trying to do smoke simulation as well inside Blender, but it's a lot more easy to just use After Effects and composite after the fact. This I have not shared at all because I shared it with one of my designer friends and he said that the perspective can be worked on a little, so I'll probably work on that tomorrow. And we've hit 13 minutes and it's a tragedy. But anyway, I'm gonna stop recording here at this point because otherwise I'm gonna be recording forever. That's a problem, because I also have to edit this video. So tomorrow I'm gonna be going to office, and as always, it's gonna be a very wasteful Thursday. It's the nature of going to office, but what can be done about it? I will try doing a lot of things. There are a few ideas I want to execute with Blender itself. The thing that I'm also worrying at the back of my mind is that Dad's work is piling up a little bit for show 1 and uploading a few episodes of show 2, and we've already hit the second last week of the month, so I have to really start figuring that out as well. That's going to be the weekend primarily. But yeah, thanks so much for being in the Khud. I will now quickly run to the gym because gym, I really love going to gym. It just makes me feel like there's some sense out of life. Thanks so much. I'll catch you on Friday. Peace.